and she's a fountain that is shut up. It's a garden that is sealed. So the more I prayed about it, the more I thought about it, it just dawned on me that okay, my spouse is going to be my sister, and she's going to be my spouse. She's going to be from my sister, become my spouse. But she's still a fountain that is shut up. I don't know her at the moment, but she's going to be a garden. It's going to be, what a garden is. I mean, rich, flowery, wonderful. But at the time, she's still shut up. And so that just gave me
Down 21 things I wanted God to infuse in the person I wanted to marry. Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, good evening, or whatever the time is at the time you're watching this. Hello, and welcome to our YouTube channel. Okay. I'm so excited to be back here. I did promise you guys that it won't be long for me to be back, and yeah, true to my words, I'm back. If you're new here, welcome. It's great to have you. We love you. This is a family of love. Please sit down. Make sure you get a seat in front. You can, tell the ushers. Let the ushers put you on the seat in front, so that you can get to be at the, vantage position. You can get to see everything that is happening. Today, I've got this very lovely, amazing people here. I do not take their presence for granted at all. I'm really excited that they are here. So for context, I've interviewed them, before, only for me to see that, the interview we did, over 1 hour interview, didn't record. In my last video, I did share about, some hazards that, YouTubers go through and all of that. And this is honestly one of it. But I'm really grateful to them that, they're able to, find the time to come again. I do not take it for granted at all. So ladies and gentlemen, please sit back, relax, enjoy. This is going to be a very, very interesting session for you. I mean, I know those people, and they're one of those that I really love to read from. Like, they are so sound and intelligent. Like, the wisdom is plenty. Believe me when I say the wisdom is plenty. So, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. Ensure you have something to eat or to drink or to chew by your side. Ensure you do not choke. All right, very important. So I'm bringing them up now, and it's so amazing to have them here. Toodles! Thank you so much for making our time for this. I do not take it for granted at all. Again, this is the second time. I do not even take this for granted at all. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's go right into the conversation. So one of the reasons I do this, or one of the reasons I'm always interested in, bringing couples here to share about, their love story generally, is to, reemphasize and remind people once again that, God still writes, love stories. God still leads his people. And there's that thing such as, being happily married or being in the will of God, especially in the areas of marriage. So yeah, that's basically why I do this. So I'm just going to keep quiet. You'll be doing much of the talking, but so it's just going to be me asking you some questions and you answering. You can relax, feel at home. It's not a job interview. I mean, how will I say it? So let's just go. How long have you been married for now?
7 years.
Amazing. 7 is a perfect number. Congratulations to you. So how has it been, being married for 7 years? If there's one word you want to use to qualify it, what word would it be for you?
Also, it's been good. It's been great. Without the good, the challenges on the way. But I mean, overall, it's better than being single anyway.
See, you're just going to use any opportunity to rub it in. Those of you that are single, sorry, vex. Is it better than being single? And what would it be? What would it be for you?
It's been, let's say, growth. Yeah, growth. And it also stretches you in terms of, you're not the only one. So like challenges, because it's on a higher magnitude, because it's not just about one person, it's about two people. If you have a child, so there are levels to these challenges when it's more than one single entity. Yeah, and when we talk about the wins too, so another advantage is that you have somebody that you're not alone in the midst of these challenges. You go through it together, you cry together, you win together, you laugh together. So I would just say growth, and I would just say just like you said, I think the fact that two people are in it, it just makes it better. And when you rejoice, it's it's also big. It's hard to what's it? It's hard to put it together. It's hard to put it together in one word only.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So let's take you back to 7 years ago. I don't know if it's 7 years now or 8 years. I don't know where the story started from, but I'd like you to, do a little bit of throwback, for us. How did this all start for you? How did you know that she's the one? How did you know that is the one?
Who's going first?
I'll let you decide that.
Well, let's say it's a long story or it's a short story. We
are here for all of it.
We should call the long story short. Basically, I think we would say it started around 2015 or something like that. I know that we were both master students at the University of Ibadan, and at that time, I think she was 1 year younger in the school. I mean, I was just finishing. She was just coming in for a master's degree. So, but we weren't really talking like that. So we just enjoyed, basically great, just like normal brothers and sisters in the church. So that time she was like my church sister. That time, so we just basically greeted. We don't no relationship as such like that. So when I left the UI at that time for the postgraduate fellowship, I was GC at the time. So I handed over to their own sets. So she took over as the financial coordinator. So that's when I was leaving. So at that time, there was really nothing special or nothing apart from the church side. There wasn't really any relationship or any communication or such. So, but I think things started developing after that, as in some things started bringing us together. When we headed over, they were having challenges in the church at that time, how to go about certain things. And so I became involved. And so we started talking, ask questions about, okay, how do we do this? You offer advice and help and this and that. So, and then again, I had to travel somewhere for a ceremony sometime. There was a sister who was close to me at the time who was having some challenges. And so while I was on my journey, I had to think about who's going to help me with this sister. Who do I call to help me go and see this sister in our hall and attend to her, all of that. So she was the only person that would come to mind at the time who was in the school at the time and who I would call. So I just had to call, okay, please, can you help us check on this sister? And so from there, she went, and from there, I started following up. Okay, so we started talking. And so, I mean, that was another step in the ladder anyway that made us communicate more. So within that period, and all the times I was sick and to get better, she was like the line of communication. So I think that developed more. And then as God also have it during our project, she was assigned the same supervisor as myself when I was there. This same supervisor I served with her as a graduate assistant while I was in the school. So it turned out to be that she would turn to me again while I turned to her for help for the sister, she would turn to me for help. So that was another, it's like we took another step in the wrong again, on the ladder again. So I would talk to her, okay, this is what she likes, this is what she would do, like that. And so from there on, it's like a communication basis was established. And so we started talking from there. From there, we became friends. And then she would have a quick lunch. And then I would be the one to be the this is master of ceremony now, or the chief, the chief speaker,
like project manager.
The one in charge of the project, so to speak. Like that. So that's how it started, and that's how we became friends and we started communicating. And so I believe, so while we're communicating and talking and doing a lot of things together, we will talk about different things, talk about different issues, about life, about prospects, about really at that time, I wouldn't really say that was really anything. It was just like friendship, we just clicked, we just had some things in common, some things, same outlook to life, same expectations, and just like what you think we should do. And so, and then before that time, I was already praying about marriage. I mean, going on undergraduate, master's degree. Of course, at the point you have to begin to pray. And I believe strongly that Christians should pray about who to get married to. I mean, if you pray about every other thing, why not pray? Why not marriage as well? So I believe that Christians should really pray fundamentally. So I was already praying. So I was praying about all of that at the time. So I had some of my pastors who I also discuss and communicate with regarding marriage and all of that. So I was praying all the time, and of course, you would know as being as GC of a campus fellowship at the time. And then my fellowship at that time, was, 80% sisters as well. So you would understand that it's really easy. It's really easy to just, if you want to settle down, you have 80% sisters. So I was praying at the time, and then of course I had so many people around me that time. I had someone on my mind too as well at that time. But one of the occasions when I was praying, and then that was before actually those issues, those things I mentioned happened. That was before I got to communicate with her regarding the sister, before the project thing happened, before we even started communicating at all. I remember I was still on my I was in the hall that time. That was a new hall, the Abubakar hall in the University of Ibadan. And then I just woke up that morning to pray about. I was just praying, and then I had a dream the night before, and in that dream I was in my office, that's in the pastor's office at the campus fellowship, and then I was sitting at the table, and at the door there were many sisters at the door, so they were just like, you see many sisters showing their faces there, and everybody was saying, "It's me, I'm here, it's me, I'm here." So I just started to think, but I was looking at all of them like this, and they were saying, "It's me, I'm here." So but there was this particular sister who was just sitting down just by the door there. Every other person was at the door, she was just by the door, and she was just calm, not saying anything, not not handling with
We're not the rush.
So it was just like that, and then I woke up at that tree. Then I was just stayed there, and I was wondering, what is this? What could this mean? Me, and this one is sitting down here. You need to know what is the meaning of this. So at that time, I used the Transport John's devotion for my devotion. So I just opened the Bible and I read it. It just went straight to Song of Solomon chapter 13, chapter 4, verse 12. And then when I opened the book, it just says that a garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse. A fountain shut up, a stream that is sealed. I just sat down there and I was like, a garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse. And she's a fountain that is shut up. It's a garden that is sealed. So the more I prayed about it, the more I thought about it, it just dawned on me that, okay, my spouse is going to be my sister, and she's going to be my spouse. She's going to be from my sister, become my spouse. But she's still a fountain that is shut up. I don't know her at the moment. But she's going to be a garden. It's going to be, you know what a garden is. Rich, flowery, wonderful. But at the time, she's still shut up. And, so that just gave me confidence that, okay, all the people I felt I knew at that time, all the people I felt I was drawn to at that time, that just gave me clarification that, oh no, she's still coming, but you don't know her yet. So at least give me closure for many of those other persons that I already thought I knew at that time. So okay, it's none of them. I will still get to know her, but she's not among them yet. So after that incident, I left the school, and then this other situation now started. I got to know her. We started talking, and then when I started praying, God started bringing back that dream to my mind, those prayers to my mind, and I started loving this particular person. I started having affection for her. I'm not a very emotional person, so then this one that is coming here now. So that's how it all started, and then started talking, and then the affection started growing. The more we talked, the more I prayed, the more at first I didn't, of course, as a church brother now, Palai brother now, I'm very careful to make sure that I'm not leading anybody on, and I'm not trying to, because at that stage, I still believe that while I was still praying, I still believe in God. As long as I hadn't made any proposal, I hadn't gone to, before I went to the MC, I was just very careful to make sure that I wasn't giving anything away, to make sure that if anything happens, nobody's going to say, you broke my heart, or you do this, or that. We're staying on a level playing field, just to make sure that if I have my own leading, she also has her own leading, at least, so that she can say she was led, not that he led me, something like that. So that was basically how it all started anyway. So here we are.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking us through that journey. And Spunta, do you want to add anything? Did you know beforehand when you were in school and all of that?
No, the thing is, when I was in UI, when I got in, I was just go to church and leave. I wasn't friends with anybody, leaders and all that. So I just come to church, do my thing, and go back home. So that was my life. So we were not talking. We don't talk. I think there was a time Sister Wefe yeah, and the sister if came to my room. I was not even in the mood. Like I was not, I was I wasn't doing I wasn't in the mood for, so we didn't have any relationship at all. So until he left. So he left and came visiting one of the days. So that was how, I think there was cleaning in church. So he came around. So we just started talking after the stuff. And like you said initially, so we were just telling him about the challenges we were having, blah, blah, blah. He just said, I was church. And that's how we started. I mean, that was the first time we ever had a real conversation. And we spoke for, I think, for more than an hour. And we spoke for a long time. Like, we were just getting along, flowing and all of that. And it was really strange.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think after that, he left. Then one of the days, he told somebody was sick. And like that, I checked on the person, and then we got talking. So, but most of the things we used to talk about were just issues, we just take different issues about life, career goals. I mean, we just had conversations like we were just, trashing issues. I mean, that was just what we were doing. Like, we just had something to talk about. So as we were doing all of that, we just discovered, our goals are aligned. Like, we had the same outlook to things and all of that. And before that time, I actually had why are you laughing now?
Because your husband is doing something behind your house.
Okay. And before that time, I was led to somebody. Yeah, that was when I was studying as an undergraduate then, before I came to UI. And I knew that yes, it was real because the circumstances were not made up and all of that. But for good reasons, it didn't work out. So after that, but one thing about me is I always pick up the lessons I can learn from every situation. So I went back to God because I knew that I didn't do this on my own. And of course, through the times of waiting, at least, even though there was really nothing, there was a form of attachments. Do you get in quotes because you're longing for something? So, and I know that on the third day, God told me that through the words, I can't remember the Bible passage, but I know that just forget the old covenants, a new and better one will come. And I'm somebody that's just all I need. Fine. As a woman, we're emotional, but for matters about my life, that's just some fundamental rules like me that I just that I lived by. So when that was it didn't take me too long for me to pack up my heart. Like I don't mourn, I don't
no time.
Like honestly, that was a reality. No time. As soon as I got a word, something to hold on to, forget the old covenant and all that was it for me. I moved on. What did I do? I began to write out the lessons I learned from the experience. I remember I wrote 21 things. Because of that experience, I wrote down 21 things I wanted God to infuse into the person I would get married to. And because prior to that time, because of the message that we have been taught, we're not taught about having, desires. Let me just put it that way. All my prayer was just God's will. That was it. So after that, I began to know that there are different types of children of God. Like if you can ask for other things in other aspects of life, so why don't you? They're not carnal things, but why don't you say the things you want? So that was one lesson I took out from that, and I wrote it down. So I was, when they say that, you're saying that this is what I had things I wanted. So I wrote those things down, and what part of what I wrote down was the manner in which the person would come. I mean, I didn't want that one. Was honestly for that first one of the things that helped me. I know there are not. Come on, I know that there are not many answers.
Let me hear this. Let me hear.
I know that there are not many answers. We would have to a lot of questions on this side of life. But one thing that has always kept me going is that even though the end result may not be what I wanted or may not be what I pictured, but as long as I followed God through the process, it's all. Because most times people obey God or follow God or say, oh, this is God, that God told me to do this because of the end result. So once they don't get to see it again, that's the end. They're disappointed. No. Even when you pray, if the same God said, oh, go this way, and at some point they said, no, I don't want this for you again, forget the old covenants. Will you continue to mourn? What should be more desire? Is it that you feel like, oh, your life was stuck, your time was wasted? No, I didn't feel that way. And those were the things I told. Those are part of the conversation. I said, no, nobody can ever waste my time. My time is in the hands of God, and I don't have any regrets for following God, even if I don't get that thing. So that was my own philosophy. So what did I do? I wrote down 21 things I wanted God to infuse in the person I wanted to marry, and then I then decided, okay, what can I do? I decided to start working on my book. Do you get? Those were the things I just occupied my mind on. I just took my manuscript, started, living my life, and that was it. So by the time it came, and because the first one, I won't lie to you, that was the first time I ever had a audible voice. So like it was real. This one will be say they fake come. And every other person, for every other proposal or brother that came, I mean, I never had to go ahead. I was just tired and stuck. So I just knew I couldn't do anything until I felt that release, until God told me, forget the old covenant. And on that old covenant, I was there for 4 years. It was 4 years, good years of waiting. But then I'm grateful that it was not 4 years that I was just there, just waiting. Of course, I was also doing things with my life. Still tomorrow, I don't know why. I don't have an answer, and that's fine. That's why I'm human. But I'm happy I've grown. I'm happy I obeyed God. I'm happy that I can choose to trust God even when it doesn't make sense. I can obey Him even when it doesn't make sense. So it's not really about me sometimes. It's also for His glory. I don't know what He was trying to test. I don't know. I don't understand, but that is that. So when it came, because for the first one, it was I heard a audible voice. I've never had a audible voice in my, and that was my first and last time. So it was very profound, and God used to speak to me. It's not like God, as in that I've never. So it was like, am I dreaming? It was so real, and what happened? I went to church to pray. I've never done it in my life. I always just pray in my room. There was a spiritual program going on, and I just felt so. Touched, impressed in my heart that I was going to wake up and go to the prayer booth to go and pray the next morning. I've never done it in my life. I'm not that kind of spiritual. Not like I'm not spiritual, but I don't do those kind of So I just prayed. When I told my friend, she was like, no worries. So I went to pray for spiritual things. It's all about me growing in Christ, spiritual gifts, and all of that. And that was marriage. I wasn't even thinking about marriage, and I heard the audible voice, like specific. Right. You are going to meet. I don't want to say you are going to meet this. Okay, yeah, maybe you are going to meet your husband, something like that. And I was leaving that place. I didn't want to. So like everything happened. So, but it just did not materialize. I don't know how to put it. Things just did not work out. So that was where I was coming from. So part of the things I wrote, I told God I wanted somebody who was going to. I said I don't want this mystery. I don't want supernatural. I just want something simple, real. I don't want drama. Do you get? So those are the things those are part of the things I wrote. I said I just wanted to come. I want the person to be my friend. I just want everything to just flow. I just want it to be seamless. Do you get? And when we became friends, everything just, it was just as if it was too good to be true, because everything just seemed, there was no pressure. It was just perfect. We just started talking. We talk about stuff. We're just in sync. His project supervisor was mine. So every time, if I edited my project work out, when I write a chapter, I send to him, we look at it, send it back, and all that. And that was how everything started. And even when I wanted to start doubting, because of the church setting where we came from, looking like that, it's not looking so spiritual and all of that. So I think I just felt something drop in my spirit. Is this not what you prayed for? And that was it for me. And when I heard that, I just released myself. I released myself to the love. I did not. And I just lived my life. Honestly, I just lived my life as long as God was happy with me. I was just fine, living, enjoying the everything. And I know that the only point where I knew I had maybe concerns, I never had until during this convocation that is mountain. So when I saw it just dawned on me that I was in an intertribal marriage. I never thought about that in my life before. So when that happened, I'm like, really? So I started entertaining fears. So because I never even thought about that part before that. It was because we just, everything was just fine. So it just dawned on me that, oh my girl, you're doing an intertribal marriage. I said, yes.
Are you ready for this?
Are you ready? I started having fears. The next day was, I think there was a zonal congress that time. So we went together to the campground the following day. And as we were going, that was how God settled me. They were singing a song that was just perfect for my worry and anxiety. The lyrics was, I then shall live as one who's learned compassion. I've been so loved that I'd risk loving too. I know how fear builds walls instead of bridges. I'll then see another point of view. And when relationship demands commitment, I'll be there to, I think, stay on and follow through. I mean, it was, I can't even believe that there's that kind of lyrics.
You said the lyrics. You
A kind of spiritual lyrics that would stop, I mean, captured everything. I mean, I've been so loved that I'd risk loving too. I know how walls build fear instead of bridges. I mean, everything was just perfect. And that was how I got my peace. And here we are today, since then.
Uncle Charles, when you were telling your own part of the story, and she
was
was
quiet.
quiet. She's not even saying. She's not even disturbing.
I'll catch inspiration.
Inspiration.
Okay. Oh wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, for taking us through this journey. And I love the fact that on both ends, the emphasis is also on prayer and seeking the face of God. Because again, every time when we try to do things by our own self or by our own wisdom, we will definitely make mistakes. But I love the fact that you were really placing emphasis on God's leading and prayers. So now let's fast forward to it. Okay, now that you both know that yeah, this is the person, and then you were going to get married and all of that. Did you experience any I don't want to call it difficulty, right? Did you experience any challenge? Again, I'm going to ask this question because Fonto had mentioned intertribal marriage. I think on this channel I've not really had to dig deep into intertribal marriages. I don't know. Did you maybe experience any challenge, or was there anything that you now began to notice? About the time when you maybe wanted to get married, and you're like, if this person is from my tribe now, maybe I will not have experienced something like this. On both ends, did you have anything like that?
For me, I didn't actually experience any of such things. Although I remember back in time, I think that was before I went to UI for my masters, or during the time, I can't remember. And I remember one of the days I was just at home with my mom and my siblings. I know we're just talking about marriage, and my mom once mentioned, any of you that goes ahead and marries a Yoruba girl, this is the way parents talk. So I was talking, I said my siblings were already giving her back, and I was like, "See, mommy, you should not be talking like that. We are Christian and all of that, and anybody will bring more, and my brother with God and all of that." So and all of that, because she was coming from a place, of course, her experiences, her own mindset as well. Having lived in Lagos for a long time, met with some Yoruba people, so some of the experiences were really not good like that. So she was coming from that mindset. But then, fortunately for us, we were able to dispel every negative thought that she might have, that say we are Christians and we believe God. No, anybody will bring up, see, you just accept her or accept him for also once you come and once you are sure. So I was surprised. It was not as if maybe I expected I was going to go for any tribe. I mean, I personally didn't have any mindset towards where the person was going to come from, or the language this person will speak or the person speaks. I always believe that if God is leading me, if God is involved, then every other thing can actually be overcome. Every other thing can be dealt with, can be handled, as long as God is the foundation. So when Fonto came along and she was going to be the one, Yoruba person. Eventually, when I told my mom, she already knows we've already disabused her mind. So all she was just asking was, she a good person. Hope she will be a good daughter-in-law. It's not the one that will be chasing parents-in-law or our mother-in-law away. That will not let them talk to their son, or will not let their son come talk to them. So at least that was all. It wasn't really about the tribe. It was more about the person, how you knew, and what kind of person she was, and all of that. And I remember also that after I went to the MC and I proposed, and she had said yes. I remember our parents invited me before the what's it called now? Before the introduction, before we did PC anything. I remember our parents invited me to their house. They wanted to have a conversation with me, and so the conversation centered around who I was, what my plans were for future, and my tribe, what our traditions were, what our beliefs were, and what our own stand as Christians were. My own stand, my parents' stand about our traditions. They've always heard about these stories. That Nigeria is more than 350 languages. So sometimes they classify those of us from the Middle Belt, Delta, Rivers, Edo, they always classify those as Igbos. And so that was so.
Yes.
When they invited me, I had to talk about so many stories about Igbos, about their traditions, about their burial ceremony, all those kind of stories about the inheritance. When husband dies, the inheritance goes to parents or brothers, all of those kind of stuff. So we wanted clarification about my own tradition, my own, at least to give them explanations, to give them what to expect, and to give them clarity on what they were going into, that kind of thing. After all, their daughter had already said yes, so I mean, they wanted to be sure that they were not stepping into troubled waters or stepping into fire. So of course, we had a very decent, productive conversation with them, and we just spoke. They asked me, I spoke to them, my parents, who they were, what they did, what our traditions were. Incidentally, at that time, I think I'd never even been to the village since 2001 when I lost my grandfather. So 2001 to 2015, that's 14 years. I never been to the village. So
yes.
Yeah. So we had a conversation, we spoke, and it was fine. It was wonderful. And I think that gave them peace. So after that time, we didn't have any discussion or any engagement about tribe. During the wedding, during the engagement, everything went smoothly. So it was just like the hand of God, really, because I mean, I know many parents who have fears about intertribal marriage, but if they had, they never showed it. In fact, they were more supportive than even my own parents during the wedding, because the lot of provisions they made. It's not easy to marry a pastor's daughter, big pastor's daughter. Where are you coming from? That kind of thing that some pastors will show that, I'm a big pastor. Anybody coming to marry my daughter must be a big person. Must be that. So here I was, an unknown entity just coming in. So they didn't show those kind of, superiority complex and all of that. So it was really a wonderful time, and I think I want to say that I've really been blessed. They've really been a blessing to me. Yeah, so it was okay. On my own side, was brilliant.
Thank you so much. And Funja, did you have any from your hand?
I would just say that we didn't have much of intertribal issues, because I think one of the I would not want to say that maybe we are the perfect example of an intertribal marriage, because he has been if I Yoruba, sometimes he knows
exactly, because it looks so Yoruba, honestly.
And so I think communication is one thing. If there is a breach in communication, number one, it can bring suspicion. If you can't communicate, communication is a very good foundation. Do you get? So I think because that barrier is out, he speaks Yoruba fluently. His siblings speak, everybody in their house speaks Yoruba fluently. So to me, it's not really like, I don't see it like that we are different at all. So I would say that communication, I've been able to have a unifying local language has bridged a lot of maybe gaps, barriers, and all of that. So I don't think we really have issues. It's just like how the Yoruba man said, because it's Yoruba cooler. I know he actually is vying for his language because he doesn't speak it. He's Yoruba. If you teach me that, I'm speaking it little by little, but no, you're not going to speak up.